This is CBN NewsWatch.
And thank you so much for joining us for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. It is Thursday, November 7th. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, President Donald Trump on the road again, campaigning in Louisiana for the Republican candidate for governor and making a bold prediction about next year's congressional elections. Christian comedian John Crist admits to sexual harassment after claims of sexual misconduct, including affairs with married women. Censorship controversy after a YouTube video that contains comments by a leading pediatrician against transgenderism is banned. And it is considered the most important naval battle of World War II. Now, a new movie tells the story of the Battle of Midway. All those stories and more are ahead in this edition of CBN Newswatch. We begin this half hour with President Donald Trump back on the campaign trail, traveling to Louisiana Wednesday night, supporting Republican businessman Eddie Response's efforts to unseat the Democratic incumbent John Bel Edwards. The president also took on other subjects, including Joe Biden, trade with China, and in front of an enthusiastic crowd, he talked about next year's congressional races.
The Democrats' shameful conduct has created an angry majority, and that's what we are. We're a majority, and we're angry, that will vote the do-nothing Democrats out of office in 2020, especially we're going to take back the House. And we're going to focus on, like those 36 Democrats in Trump areas that I won by a lot. I didn't run in 2018. You know, they keep forgetting.
The president also introduced two of the state's famous reality TV stars, Phil and Willie Robertson of Duck Dynasty.
I got it down to this. If you're pro-God and pro-America and pro-gun and pro-duck hunting, that's all I want.
The president returns to Louisiana next Thursday to again campaign for the Republican gubernatorial candidate 2 days before the election. In Washington, the Democrats' impeachment inquiry goes public next week. Democrats have announced 3 witnesses who will testify and begin making a case against President Trump. Up first on Wednesday, Bill Taylor, the acting U.S. ambassador to Ukraine. He told investigators President Trump withheld millions of dollars in military aid to Ukraine. Also testifying next, former Ukrainian ambassador Marie Yovanovitch and George Nitt, a top state Democratic Department official. The president's defenders say none of this rises to the level of impeachment.
There are perfectly appropriate quid pro quos, and there are inappropriate quid pro quos.
Now, this all comes as a new book written by an anonymous White House aide is set to come out. The Huffington Post reports the book claims White House officials made a list of cabinet secretaries who would support using the 25th Amendment to remove the president in the days after he fired FBI Director James Comey. The officials say they also believe Vice President Pence would back it up. The VP's office shot down the claim, though, calling it fake news. Former Attorney General Jeff Sessions will announce today he is running for his old Senate seat in Alabama. That is according to multiple sources. He'll return to the political stage a year after the day he resigned from President Trump's first Attorney General at the president's request. Sessions had been one of the president's earliest supporters, but their relationship soured because Sessions recused himself from the special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation. Sessions was a longtime senator, and his entry upends the primary race. It has been a crowded field of challengers hoping to take on the Democratic Senator Doug Jones. One source told The Hill that Sessions will forcefully support Trump's agenda and denounce Democrats' impeachment efforts. Christian comedian John Crist is canceling tour dates and admitting to sexual harassment and addiction. A Charisma News report details the personal experiences of a few women, and Crist emailed them this response saying, "While I am not guilty of everything I've been accused of, I confess to being guilty of this. I have treated relationships with women far too casually, in some cases even recklessly. My behavior has been destructive and sinful. I've sinned against God, against women, and the people I love most. He went on to say, I am sorry for the hurt and pain I've caused these women and will continue to seek their forgiveness. YouTube has banned a video by a leading pediatrician arguing against the current medical acceptance of transgenderism. YouTube called it hate speech. Dr. Michelle Cretella is executive director of the American College of Pediatricians. The 2017 video is from the Daily Signal, the news outlet of the Heritage Foundation. In the video, Dr. Cretella says the science speaks for itself.
Our bodies declare our sex. Biological sex is not assigned. Sex is determined at conception by our DNA, stamped into every cell of our bodies. Human sexuality is binary. Either you have a normal Y chromosome and develop into a male, or you don't, and you will develop into a female.
She says although the scientific facts have not changed, the culture war over the issue and identifying it as a mental health issue has, and the medical consensus is changing to accommodate the culture. Heritage says YouTube's ban is censorship. A major effort is underway to use modern technology to fight human trafficking. It's a tool that may help clamp down on a growing problem that has grown into a crisis across the globe. CBN national security correspondent Eric Phillips brings us the story.
Human trafficking is a $150 billion business with some 40 million victims worldwide. Now experts are harnessing the power of artificial intelligence to fight against it, and they're rolling out a new program here in the nation's capital. It's a big, evil business with human trafficking victims described as modern-day slaves.
They don't get to make the most basic decisions about their lives. Someone else decides when they wake up, where they work, and who touches their bodies. And we find it, honestly, wherever we're looking for it.
Officials hope this new global platform you see here will help. It's called Traffic Analysis Hub, powered by artificial intelligence. The hub is designed to track instances of human trafficking wherever it may happen. One of the movers behind the platform is IBM's Corporate Social Responsibility Division.
We're using the AI to tell us information about what's been described in news articles or tweets or in case management reports or victim impact statements. So all of that contains nuggets of information, and when we process that into something that's consistent and available to our partners, that's where they get the benefit.
Those partners range from law enforcement to nonprofits to the financial community, all dedicated to fighting human trafficking. This new hub will gather information quickly and spread it far and wide, something experts say has been badly needed.
It's a major frustration for me. I'm an intelligence professional from law enforcement. My major frustration is there's lots of research work out there. They're very large documents and they're very well done, but not many people have access to them. We need to come up with something that everybody who needs access to an understanding of the picture of trafficking can get it simply and easily.
And that's the goal of this new technology.
So from a financial institution perspective, they're interested in where have events occurred and when, so that they can cross-reference that inside their own organization to see are transactions happening that may be consistent, that might give an indication of a suspicious activity.
Traffickers are using technology. There's no reason why we shouldn't use technology as well as we work to stop them.
Experts say it takes an array of techniques to fight against this problem of human trafficking, and they believe this new AI-inspired technology will become a major tool in their arsenal. In Washington, Eric Phillips, CBN News.
Coming up, did Democrats really have a big win in the election in Virginia Tuesday, or was it just media and political hype? We're going to hear from Vice President Mike Pence's chief of staff and get his take on what this week's vote really meant.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep. as the world watches from the outside.
It's a big diplomatic tug of war here in the Middle East.
Go inside the story with Jerusalem Dateline.
Israeli archaeologists are talking about a discovery that could change the thinking about the Temple Mount.
Join CBN Jerusalem Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell and get the biblical perspective on the events shaping the world.
What starts in Israel then ends up going to other places.
Watch Jerusalem Dateline, Friday night at 9:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
So, was it a blue wave or media hype? Either way, Democrats are emboldened after their big election win Tuesday in Virginia and their declared gubernatorial victory in Kentucky. Now they're setting their sights on recapturing the U.S. Senate and the White House next year. But on this week's Global Lane, Vice President Mike Pence's Chief of Staff, Mark Short, suggests Democrats didn't actually do as well this week as people may think.
Gary, I think that you look at Mississippi and Kentucky, and Republicans won 5 of the 6 top statewide elections. You go further down, and I think it was 13 of 14 when you include all the state auditors and treasurers. So the reality is that I think Democrats will focus on the governor's race, and if they use that to pursue additional endless investigations and justification of what they're doing in Washington, D.C. is working, you know, I think that's going to hurt them a lot in 2020 because the American people are frustrated. They're tired of endless investigations. They want Congress to do the things they promised they would do. And in reality, in 2018, when Democrats took control of the House, they made a lot of promises to the American people. They promised they'd work with this administration on drug pricing. They promised they'd work with us on immigration. They promised that they would find better solutions on a large number of issues, including trade. And yet today, there's absolutely zero that Americans have to show for Democrat leadership. All they've pursued is one investigation after another and actually not delivered anything for their constituents.
And now we're moving to open hearings in the impeachment inquiry. Do you expect Democrats will drag this out in an effort to further damage the president, or will they risk taking an impeachment vote, which may actually help improve the president's favorability ratings?
You know, Gary, my assumption is that they're going to pursue, they've been pursuing impeachment for quite some time, ever since, in fact, this administration was inaugurated. And I think that right now you have an impeachment trial that's in search of justification for what they're doing. And so I think this will probably drag out through December. My assumption is they'll probably have a vote in the House in December. And if it moves to the Senate, that would happen in January. But again, I think that what we hear from constituents time and again is to say enough of the endless investigations. What is this really about when you step back for a second and say that all of the money that was appropriated by Congress was provided to Ukraine within the time it was supposed to be provided? Allegations of a cover-up when the president provided the entire transcript for all Americans to read for themselves. The president of Ukraine, Mr. Zelensky, himself said he felt no pressure whatsoever. Ultimately, there was no investigation that we know of launched by Ukraine into the Biden family. So any sort of notion of a quid pro quo when the money was released, I think, falls flat. So the reality is, again, this is an impeachment that's continually in pursuit of a justification. And I don't think that's what the American people wanted. I don't think that's what our founders intended when they created a process for impeachment. There's never been such a partisan impeachment as the one that we're enduring right now.
And any day now, Mark, the Inspector General's Fisa report will be made public. And that, of course, is about possible abuses by the Department of Justice and the FBI in obtaining those warrants to monitor the 2016 Trump campaign. So how damaging do you expect that report to be?
You know, Gary, that's something that we don't have insight into, but I do think that the American people have a right to know whether or not people inside the Department of Justice were pursuing political purposes and whether or not they politicized investigations in pursuit of FISA warrants. And I think that that's very important for all of us to know. I don't think that when the FISA law was created, Americans wanted to see abuses into people's civil liberties and civil rights, particularly if there were people in the Department of Justice who had a political agenda. And I think that's important for us to find out.
And Attorney General Barr has federal prosecutor John Durham investigating the investigators. Do you expect indictments and criminal prosecutions? What do you think he'll find?
Gary, I don't think we know right now. I think we have enormous trust in Attorney General Bill Barr and the Inspector General that he has chosen in this case, and we await it. But it's something that's being done in a very non-politicized fashion that doesn't include the White House, and so we look forward to seeing what the results are.
And Mark, the administration has just announced a new initiative on adoption and foster care. Tell us what that will mean for people of faith and faith-based groups.
Well, Gary, this was a very important announcement on Friday, and that what the Trump administration was doing was actually overturning a midnight regulation. You call it that, a midnight regulation, it means it's after the election and the Obama administration, on their way out the door, passes or puts in law several new regulations. And one was a regulation that discriminated against Christian adoption agencies, that denied them access to federal funding, denied them access to federal programs for adoption. In this country, we have hundreds of thousands of children in foster care who are still awaiting a home. We think it's important that everybody have the opportunity to have access to those federal programs so we can place more of those children in adopted homes. We know that our Savior, Jesus Christ, saved all of us. He adopted all of us as a pathway into heaven and His kingdom. And the reality is that what the Obama administration had done is they denied Christian groups who do not provide adoption for same-sex couples and honor traditional families, they deny them the access to participate in these programs. What the Trump administration regulation did is it overturned that Obama-era regulation and makes it accessible to all, including Christian agencies, to participate in the same program.
Now you can hear more from Mark Short and Gary Lane's commentary about a New York drag queen's mock abortion performance all this evening on the Global Lane. It begins at 9:30 Eastern. You can find that on the CBN News Channel. Still ahead, many believe it was the most important naval battle of World War II, the Battle of Midway in June of 1942, just 6 months after the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor. Now it's a major motion picture. We're going to bring you a preview of that new film right after this break. Stay with us.
On October 1st, 1961, history was made when a tiny station began transmitting the first signals of the Christian Broadcasting Network.
CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network.
And now, a new era has begun with the all-new CBN News Channel.
Just moments ago, the Iron Dome intercepted an incoming rocket right on the Gaza border.
And ministering in this area, spiritual warfare is definitely involved.
A 24/7 news network, bringing you the news you want from a source you can trust.
In Kenya, 40% of the medical services are actually provided by these Christian hospitals.
Let's talk about the economy.
Believers here are joining together to win people to Jesus Christ.
All your favorite shows now in one place. Go to CBNNewsChannel.com to find out how to get the CBN News Channel on your TV all day, every day. CBN News. Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
It's been called the most important naval battle of World War II, the Battle of Midway. It happened in June of 1942, just months after Japan's surprise attack on Pearl Harbor. Just in time for Veterans Day weekend, those stories are the focus of a major motion picture. Take a look. Old photographs and newspaper clippings, memories of the miracle men of Midway, who used instincts, fortitude, and bravery to overcome the Imperial Japanese Navy and turn the tide of World War II in the Pacific, 6 months after Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor.
I can cut from this image.
Independence Day director Roland Emmerich brings the battle to the big screen in Midway.
The situation in the Pacific is far worse than reported.
Pearl Harbor is the greatest intelligence failure in American history.
Preset! Fire!
The Japanese are planning something bigger.
So what's the target?
We believe it's Midway.
Washington disagrees.
Washington is wrong.
So you're from Germany, correct? What was it about this piece of American history that fascinated you so much?
I kind of saw a documentary 20 years ago, and I was just amazed how many factors in one battle have to happen, what decides a battle, and I just liked the richness of the whole tapestry.
Emmerich uses the real-life experiences of those World War II leaders and sailors to tell this battle story.
Yeah, maybe it isn't Pearl.
Ed Skrein plays the role of dive bomber pilot and squadron commander Dick Best. Ed, describe Dick Best to me. He seems like quite a character.
I mean, we see a number of Dick Bests in this movie, right? We meet him at the beginning as this New Jersey cocky flyboy, the type of guy who cuts out his engine when he's landing the plane just to prove to himself he can do it in case it happens in battle, you know? After Pearl Harbor happens, we see a relentless Best. We see him on a one-man mission to win the war all by himself, which we all know isn't possible. And then we see a fragile Best, you know, a lost Best, where he loses his confidence and this bravado, you know, due to fatalities and losses once he becomes a leader, you know. And after that, we see him with the help of his best friend, Clarence Dickinson, played so brilliantly by Luke. He gains this emotional intelligence, this emotional literacy, and becomes the leader that perhaps he was born to be and that his team needed.
Now, Luke, you played Clarence. I understand you actually paid a visit to his grave in Hawaii?
I did.
What made you do that?
You know, I was here. We were filming in Hawaii for 2 weeks, and I just felt it was my duty to do that, you know. I don't know the man personally, and I don't know any of his family members, but I just wanted to pay my respects to him, and hopefully he's looking down upon me, giving me his approval, you know. So I just wanted to say thank you.
And Best, I'm bumping you up from XO.
Dennis Quaid is Fleet Admiral William Bull Halsey.
There's another rumor that your life may be in danger.
Patrick Wilson is Intelligence Officer Edwin Layton. For both of you, what would you say your characters taught you? For you, what did Bill Halsey teach you? For you, what did Edwin Layton teach you?
The dedication, the passion, the service to your country is something that that doesn't go unnoticed, I think, by us and by a lot of people that don't get the opportunity. Anytime it's country over politics. It's that's what patriotism is. It's certainly not about Washington. It's about this man-to-man relationship.
Yeah, I think it's a good reminder that there were times, and there still can be times, when our country is a united country in spite of differences of opinion and all the rest of that.
We got the order to launch.
We need to throw a punch
so they know what it feels like to be hit.
We're talking about a couple dozen planes against a whole Japanese fleet. This isn't a fair fight.
Your thoughts on both of you, just the story itself. I mean, reading about it in history to know that these men were outgunned, outmanned. I mean, 6 months earlier, and then they managed to pull this off.
War is chaos. You know, it's absolute chaos. And I guess what's really inspiring is that, you know, with the sheer unpredictability of so much, you still have people showing up and just doing their damnedest to do right by each other. And yeah, they were totally the underdog. It's a great underdog tale.
I don't know how to lead these men.
They'll follow you anywhere.
If you know that you came through when people are counting on you, you'll be able to face anything.
Do you think there was a bigger force guiding them?
I don't know. Maybe, but they were, at that time, they were much more, you know, in tune with like religion, and that they went a lot to church. I know that.
And Midway opens this evening in theaters across the country. We'll be right back with an encouraging word for your day. Stay with us.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
I'm Ephraim Graham, and this is Studio 5. Cruise with me as I discover the good things happening in the world of music, sports, television, and movies.
The fact that Ryan Coogler was going to be directing the film, I knew that something special was going to happen.
We'll chat with artists at the forefront of entertainment and explore the connection between popular culture and faith.
I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit.
Watch Studio 5, Wednesday night at 9:30.
Remember for a moment what it was like to be a child. You believed every story you were told. You saw a world full of endless possibilities. What stories will the world's orphaned and at-risk children believe? We believe the Bible tells the only story truly worth believing. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to dream, the chance to take challenges and turn them into possibilities, the chance to stand on the promises of God, to recognize their place in the greatest story ever told. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Theirs is a world of endless possibilities. They are looking for a story to believe. We will tell them that story. Will you join us?
Get the top political news and analysis from Washington on Faith Nation, tonight at 6 Eastern, only on the CBN News Channel.
It's time now for your Thursday Thankful, and today I share this prayer of gratitude with you. God, you are good, and nothing changes that. Even when my circumstances are not good, you are God, and you are still good. With that word and prayer, make today a thankful Thursday and maintain that gratitude well into the weekend. That will do it for this edition of CBN News Watch. Remember, you can always find more of our CBN News programs on the CBN News Channel at any time or online at cbnnews.com. We'd love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us. That address is newswatch@cbn.com. And of course, you can reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. Bye-bye, everybody.